Alright. Oh shit.
All
Leave me
right,
leave meeting.
we're live. We got the king himself, Toproll king, the Russian oligarch, the man of many nicknames, Artem Taranenko in the building.
Shout out to Adidas and Toproll King collab. I've been working on this for a long time. Finally, for this live stream, I made it happen. By made it happen, I mean made it to my cricket.
Step back, stand up. Let's see the full fit.
No. That's
He's in his underwear with just the top on. Don't let him fool you.
no. You don't want to show how short this jacket is because it's a woman's medium. Okay,
It was on sale though.
exactly.
They don't know. So, figure we'll do a little interview with you. Let everybody get to know Artem. Everybody knows you, but I'm still baffled by this one moment where people tell me, a guy asked me, "Who's that?" Talking about Daniel Worley. So when I hear that, I think maybe these guys may not know you enough and may not even know your backstory, right?
I got you. Okay.
They just think you're some guy that's always been swole, always had Popeye the Sailor Man arms. Is it true you're getting an anchor tattooed on your forearm?
It's not true.
That's not true. All right. Start off with a little bit of your backstory, man.
I got you. Hold on. Look, I'm sharing all the links with everybody. So there's more. I told you I have the rules. If there's no more than 100 people watching it within the first 5 minutes, I'm out.
Yeah, on this channel we get about 20.
I got you.
We'll get there in the first 5 minutes. We'll get right to 20.
I've sent link to good 19 people, so we'll see what happens.
Let me send the link around too, real quick.
I don't know. I don't feel like telling my story because I feel like you can tell my story better than I can do. So, but we can.
That's how I'm gonna do it.
I agree with you that it is funny nowadays how I've been so many conversations like, hey, I went to nationals and like you won nationals 154. Like you were 154. I'm like, yeah, for majority of my career. Like, are you crazy? So like, yeah, it is funny how people, I guess, not people, population and the majority of people that go to the tournament changes, and they're like, they don't really like, they don't, they don't know enough, I guess.
Yeah, it's exactly what I feared. That two years of not arm wrestling, and they don't even know your name anymore. But
that's more about Daniel Worley. Yes, I agree.
Shout out to Daniel Worley and his recurring tricep injury. It has gave a lot of conversation over the past 10 years.
Yeah, shout out to Kenneth. We appreciate him and the injuries.
Thank you, Kenneth. So tell us
hold on, there's something funny. If you wanna something reminisce of good times, just call Dan. He'll tell you how he's about to like go get the injury fixed. It's like
sure.
It's like you're talking. It's like you're calling to 2013.
He's gonna be at Vitacell getting he's getting the stem cells himself.
And he wished to be invited. Yeah, and I've been telling you know what? I told Dan like 3 years ago. Whatever. I feel like we all told that then years ago. But you'll tell him like whenever he got his X-ray done and he realized his elbow like whatever had bones in it like fractures. I'm like, dude, you need to get it done now because you're gonna wait a couple of years and we're gonna be in the same spot. And God forbid something gonna happen where like, you can arm wrestle with it or you can heal with it better, and and you're gonna miss out on all of that. And here we have, stem cells and shit to where you can, be back together. And like, who you gonna go get the surgery? Daniel Worley. We're still here.
Well.
And if you listen, if anybody listening to this audio video, it's time to get a surgery.
Should we start a GoFundMe for the richest guy we know? Second richest guy?
Well, I don't know. Do you see Mandy just posted your new car?
Yeah, he can't afford a surgery.
Right.
He just bought a new truck. Right. Go ahead. You just come get some stem cells, Dan.
Well, if you're not invited, then I don't think you know Dan's name.
Yeah, I'm not cool enough. That's for damn sure. Paul Italia asked me like I had asked him to
Hold
bar
on.
$1 million.
How is Paul Italia, a barely resident of Florida, is invited and you not?
I don't know. That's a story for another day.
Man,
Did
I don't know.
so
Shout out to Dr. Mark, Rob, the fact that Paul Italia is invited and Brandon's not to Florida party, that's fucked up.
tell this doctor I need him right in the bicep.
I feel like I should have enough power to just go and like kick Paul Italia out and just replace you with him, right?
But we can't do that. He's sponsoring my next event. We
Oh,
can't
okay.
kick him out. He's got to come with us.
All right. But I'm just gonna
Um,
I need everybody to know that that's the power that we have.
what if I put him on my shoulders and we put like a trench coat on him and they just think it's some tall guy with a cowboy hat?
Uh,
All right. Let's get into the story. The
I,
story.
I saw this TikTok earlier where this guy like this one guy walks around and there's a smooth transition and the short guy they shake hand and the short guy jumps on top of his shoulders right there. That's what you and Paul should do. Quick
That's a
handshake,
friendship.
you squat down, he jumps on top, you squat up like nothing happened.
I like it. I like it.
All
So
right.
I'm gonna start off. I wanna actually ask you a couple questions
All right.
and then we'll go to your backstory.
Okay.
So want to start off with what is the first moment you knew arm wrestling was for you?
When you invited me to this podcast, I'm like, hell yeah, this shit's happening.
Let me write that down.
Right.
I made him famous today. No, what was your first time arm wrestling at all? Exposure to arm
Dude,
wrestling?
you know what? I feel like that particular moment was when I started going to the gym. And that's like, well, like 16, probably 15 back in Russia. Like, just started going to the gym and there was an arm wrestling table. And as far as like my overall body look, I was no special than any of my friends. But as far as the arm wrestling table, all of a sudden I was that guy. So, and I kind of felt like in love with that. And therefore, I feel like, oh, I don't know, actually, man, I kind of loved it from there on. And I tried to like compete and shit and like whatever, tried to go training and stuff. But still, like when my mom told me I couldn't go to my first tournament because like we had to move to America and God forbid I break my arm and nobody can carry the luggage and shit, I kind of got so emotionally beat because I kind of tried to compete, which is probably a wild concept for some amateur dudes or whatever who like just their practices. But because I could not compete, I was like, I didn't want to go to the next training session. And I was like, I had good friends that are like, no, 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 you must come, you continue your legacy in America. I'm like, fuck it. Then I came. And this, I mean, I don't know, like then I was 18, 17 and still trying to like figure out what I like, all the graffiti and all the arm wrestling stuff. And then I don't know, I kind of felt like still arm wrestling was kind of there, right? I kind of like, I want to explore it more. And that's where John Wilson replied to my email and gave me your address. And that's where I guess I came into practice and I'm like, shit, I do want to go beat some people, right? So I feel like that was the the long moment.
So you're
I'm throwing it back to you, Brandon. I know.
I so for me, for example, first time I seen arm wrestling, it was on like Wide World of Sports, like an old ABC show and I seen Alan Fisher, John Brzezinski. It must have been like some 90s
Uh-huh.
thing, but I'm like 8 years old, so I seen it on TV the first time. By the time I met you, not knowing you already seemed very committed to arm wrestling.
Right. I guess prior to that, I think like the early arm wrestling stuff, probably 2012, when A1 was getting streamed on TV on the like Russian sport channels.
This is the greatest tournament ever.
And they got arm lifting there too, which at the time barely term in Russia and now kind of more popular term in America, like all the grip shit, right? They called arm lifting. And at the time that's where I kind of started watching it and start like going on YouTube, watching some training for both like grip stuff and arm wrestling. And that's where like I don't know, initially before I found the practice, I was just doing a bunch of grip stuff, pinch grips, grippers, all that stuff before I ever found an arm wrestling practice to go to. So yeah, I guess I also saw it on TV a bunch.
Speaking of grip, when I met you and you were already the grip guy,
I,
basically.
I was a little grip guy, not ever committed, but I was that guy. I had some grip.
The what age and what size are you when you achieve your first 45-pound bumper plate flip?
I don't know.
18.
I guess 18 at the gym.
So this is before anybody could do it. A lot of people did. It was a much more impressive trick 10 years ago than it is today.
Right. And then
Would you agree?
yeah, right. And then to the people that at the time were not impressed were the people that were able to like flip 100 or something like retarded thing. They're like, oh, okay, guy, can you do two of them? Or like something wild. But yeah, to an average guy, yeah, it was something. I mean, still like to an average guy, it's still a wild trick.
Let's talk about your beginning weight. What is the lowest competition weight you have ever stepped into?
Well, it's a funny story why you're laughing. There was one time I probably started arm wrestling maybe like 176 pounds. Maybe I started arm wrestling 180, but I once asked you about my first tournament. Like, and this is like I came to America in May. I've met you in September. And October we have this tournament. So, my English just kind of, barely existing. My terms in American lingo, like pounds and kilos, also non-existent. And I ask you for the probably 50th time, like every retard who ever goes to his first tournament would, hey, what's the weight classes? I can't really read this flyer, man. And you hit me with 54, 76, 98, 220s, right? But as they are, with the apostrophe and there's no ones, right? So my dumb ass thinks it's 50. Well, I'm still thinking it's pounds and kilos. I'm like, oh man, Brandon is a nice friend. He sent me all that shit in kilos, so I don't have to calculate it all. That's 54 kilos.
Which is like what, 130 pounds?
135 will be 60 kilos. So it's like maybe 121,
123.
123. Yeah. So I'm there cutting to 123, whatever that is, right? Keep sending you pictures like, yo, bro, I'm about to make that weight. I'm about to make that weight, man. And you're like, bro, you done cutting. You done overcut. I'm like, nah, man, there's another like 20 pounds to go. So I don't really know what ended up happening, but like I do believe I probably, let's say I was about 155, 160 of that, and then I did cut down to part. I did probably was like 148, 150. I remember going to the tournament, and that was a funny moment. That was my first tournament ever, like to going out and competing, weighing in and paying entry fees. That's 2013. Entry fees were $35 an arm. So when I asked all of you, was it all right? Y'all were like, nope. Usually it's 25. I'm like, all right, steep. and then weigh-ins were so sketchy to where I'm out there. I didn't really like. I don't think I cut weight the day off because I was so good. But I stepped on the scale like 150 for the 154 class, and then Max doesn't step on the scale, being like an average 76 guy. And I'm like, oh man, this how it happens. So
First bit of tomfoolery on the
right,
scale. First
right.
time.
Exactly. So I kind of, but which is a good thing, right? There's many people like get their emotions crushed like a couple years in. I'm like, I understood the game like my first tournament. Shit can be expensive and it's not fair sometimes. So you better buckle up and get extra $20 in your hand. So, but yeah, that day we started at 154.
It's important to talk about what class did you enter your first day of arm wrestling?
154. 154.
54 pro.
Yes, 154 pro.
Totally bypassed amateur, novice, anything like that. Artem asks me, which one has the money? There was supposed to be a some sort of prize. It was like a some con artist
There
body.
was like there was a scooters being given away. There was like thousands of dollars, boats. I don't know, crazy shit. We do have the conversation because I'm not quite sure. I barely can understand the weight class scenario. God forbid it says the word amateur. Like, well, I never see this word in English or Russian. And then I do ask you, like, what's going on? And he's like, well, if you tell me, I remember this conversation. You tell me, well, if it's like kind of your first time, you want to jump in amateurs, if you kind of know what you're doing, you pull in pros. If you do want to, you can pull amateurs or you can pull pros. And then I go, well, where does Brian pull? Brian Matilla. You go, he pulls pros. All right, I'll pull pros. So I get to know.
Fair enough. How'd you end up doing that first tournament?
I think I won left-handed, and I took 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 third right-handed. I beat like I was beating everybody, and then on the shaky call on the table was shaking the shit. Somehow I got an elbow foul that sent me B side, and then I go against the old guy. Oh, I go against Al Gross, right? The guy that have a website, GT All Sports. I go against him again, and I beat him first, and I go him a B side, and he beats me, and there goes my third place, and then it's him and Max, and I hated Max right there every that second as soon as I got some bullshit call. And I'm like, oh man, I want to see Max lose every from now on to everybody. And as soon as Al got up there and put this 2-0 on Max, that was a good day for me. I was happy with my third place.
There was a time when Albert Gross was beating Max Tobin, huh?
There you go.
What do we got here?
It's right here. Daytona Challenge, first place,
First
2013.
tournament ever.
I have a medal somewhere there too that is a green fucking strap.
Winning straight out the gate.
So
All right.
that's so close. You know what? Like all the since the FAL doesn't want to provide structure, so what qualifies as semi-pros officially and amateurs. That's what it should be. If you're an amateur dude and you don't know, like, well, you're not if you're an amateur dude. If you're not a wrestler guy, you don't know what you're doing. If you can beat one pro at your practice, like a couple times, you can pull pros.
Artem says it. That is the new requirement via Artem.
As soon as you can beat
I don't make the rules, I just enforce them. So at this time, you 2012, you're 154 pounds. Do you ever achieve any high ranking at 54?
No.
You never achieved 54. How do you match up with Jeremy Pappy when you guys are around that size?
We only have matched up like twice, and the last one was okay, but I feel like it was like my shittiest shape ever, and we still kind of gotten a little bit of something left-handed. But that was the day like I lost to Lorraine Jenkins and everybody else. So I don't know. Like I feel like my shape was not there whatsoever. In general, I was like me and you jumped 76. You're the 76 guy, but I'm not. So we jumped. You beat the guy that I ended up pulling, and I ended up trying to press him, and he beats me. So it was like terrible days. So yeah, this Jeremy, we're not really doing too much.
Okay.
Also keep in mind he's hard to get, and I feel like you do get this moments like, man, I'm fucking gonna beat Jeremy, but you end up never really beating him.
Yeah, I think a lot of people thought they were about to beat him and were sadly disappointed. Do you so do you have any acclaim at 76?
Not at all, right? So like if it's like it's 154, kind of maybe sit around and look at like national rankings, look at Florida rankings, maybe do something okay. Like no, I feel like I was throwing a bone, like it's like 54, 65 at some point, like be like somewhere top 10 regionally and like in Florida, right? but never nationally. And then 76 completely bypassed that, right? 76 never really did anything nationally, never, never beat
Well,
any.
at 54, I don't want to tell you about your own career, but at 154 pounds, you have managed to win 2 national titles you may have forgot about.
I did well, right, right. I won national title, but like I won a bunch of shit, right? Like I will compare it to me and you, right? I have fucking 15,000 trophies you don't have, but maybe you beat that tournament, but you beat better people, right? So at 154, I never really beaten anybody, right? But I have won nationals, Florida State, Maryland State, fucking all those little states, right? But didn't really
Actually,
beat anybody.
that leads me to my next question. I would like to know all of the states that you are the state champion, current or former state champion in.
Dude, that's at this point it's probably kind of like I'm pretty sure I won Washington State,
I know
Florida,
you're the Florida state champion.
Florida State, Washington State, and at this point I'm so many versions Florida State champion, right? Like like
Alabama, I've won Alabama with you before.
we won Alabama,
Maryland state champion.
Maryland was big after Florida.
I
Yeah,
think you're the Virginia state champion or West Virginia, one of them. No,
that was a if that was a state championship, wasn't it? At one
I
time,
don't know.
I feel like I'm pretty sure I'm Arizona State champion too,
Okay.
and there was one more.
Tennessee.
I am Tennessee State champion.
You're also the Tennessee state champion. What about the Carolinas?
I don't feel like they ever held like the state.
Kentucky,
Kent-
South Carolina national
What's
champion,
that?
Lindsay says.
Was the right, right, right? Well, that's a national, right? Yeah, no, yeah. I have one more. Oh, New York State. New York State was a state championship.
Michigan.
That wasn't Michigan State. That was just a tournament, and I don't
I
think.
routinely entered tournaments with Artem for 5 to 10 years, where me and you, anytime we were in the bracket, me and you won, guaranteed won the bracket. One of us did win it for almost 5, 6, 7 years. We pretty much never lost one class that we entered in, maybe a couple. I think Roger Kingingham.
We will equally like to get an ass whipping too, for sure. Sometimes,
Yeah, but one of us will always be there in the finals, typically winning it.
right?
I've had great success being protected through the brackets by you and being able to piggyback off of some of your glory in the process. What would you say in your long career has been, and it's a long career for a guy you're 28 years old now. You finally got a full beard.
Right.
Okay. Letting the armpit hair grow out a little. You're getting older. What would you say is your greatest match of all time? And not the greatest opponent. I want to know your greatest war you ever been in.
Dude, that's funny. At this point, there's a couple of them because I remember all the way until 2016, while making my highlights videos, and it'll be like maybe 3 minutes long because I have like 100 3-second matches and shit. But now, like, I feel like me and Roger were in a war. I had a war with Ray Hendricks that was pretty brutal because I had a war with oh man, I feel so it's Brad Grundy. So I pulled Grant Bundy. So me and Grant had the war prior to that, and then me and Ray didn't want me to beat him at all, and he was telling to Team Brasno like, he's slipping and like on purpose and shit, and Team is giving me falls for slipping. I'm like, who gets no? What the fuck? And then we go to the strap, and that's like one of the first time I went from a completely like a broke arm to like a press. And that was hard, and I end up like pulling more, and I feel like I started losing after that. But I mean, you said like don't combine the two, but when me and Devin pulled in Kentucky, and given Devin was giving me obviously like the starts, my arm was not okay for the fucking couple of months after that. I went pretty hard with him, and I feel like then I waited the week after that. I pulled that East versus West qualifiers out there in Brugier, and my left was messed up since. So that, but man, those a couple. Like I acquired a couple of good ones. I feel like over the years. Left and right. One of the first one I was just editing shit today. Me and Randy Whaley had a nice war in Europa. That was pretty brutal, right-handed.
Yeah. I'm
So
gonna have to say probably the favorite setting. I think seeing you and Chad Silver's
and that's it.
left-handed.
I was about to say, I feel like that's the one I'll rewatch millions of times, even though it's left-handed.
Get back! Goddamn dogs are fighting. We got a bunch of Frenchies about to have a fight here. Yeah, the Chad Silver's one for me. That left-handed, that was absolutely amazing.
I feel like that was probably some type of a breaking moment left-handed for me.
Okay. Me and you, we often play a game on car rides, and it typically goes like this. Well, if you've ever lost to a Ray Jenkins, raise your hand. And then you would raise your hand. Okay. And then you would say, if you ever lost to Sarah Bachman, raise your hand. And we play this. But if we were to play the opposite, who is your ace card that you would pull out to say, I beat so and so? You know, when someone questions my credibility,
you're switching. That's exactly how the game usually goes, and you're switching it up on me.
it can go either way.
What the fuck? It doesn't go that way. Usually, you get enough shit talk to you, and then you go, "Hey, hey, 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 who is here beating Chad Silvers twice?" Karen being given the rope back.
If you've ever beat Shark, go ahead and raise your hand or put a thumbs up in the chat. All right, chat's nice and empty. If you've ever beat Chad Silvers, go ahead and put your hand up or put a thumbs up in the chat.
It's a tough game to play with me nowadays.
If you ever beat Chance Shaw, put your hand up.
You said ever beaten Chance Shaw? I never.
Yeah. You've never beaten Chance.
Oh, I have.
You have. Put your hand. Okay. So if we play this, who is your ace after all these victories we know you have now? Rockers. Did you beat Mosier something, right? Like
on false. It's a win, but it's not a I didn't beat him.
Who do you go to just trump me completely when I say I beat so and so? Who have you beat? Who is your greatest win ever?
I mean, I do have nah, I can't say that. That's too shady. That's too shady. I can't be throwing super matches in there.
No, come on. Practice stays at practice. You know the rules.
I mean, I do like left-handed Jordan Seal. I do like Jacob Abbott right-handed. Not that many people have done that.
He's a beast.
Yeah. I mean, never beaten Justin. Paul Talbot left-handed. It's like fucking nobody have done that.
Sure, I would say Paul Talbot or Brent Rockers.
Rockers also tough one, but I feel like he does take a loss. Like when you look at Paul's portfolio left-handed, how like legitimately active he was, and like there's not that many. I mean, there's not really a loss that he have taken legitimately.
Where are you currently ranked on the In the Hook? Let me go look.
I feel like I'm second or third, second left-handed, like maybe 10 right-handed.
That was a trick question. Because if you ain't first,
you're last.
You're last.
Hey,
you would know it.
That's what told somebody the other day. Someone was asking me, like, hey, man, I'm trying to get this ranked guys to pull me. Well, I'm like, we're probably fucking talking about 17 through 13 anyway. So that's not a match worth having. So you go talk to the number 1 to number 5 guys. And the answer was, oh, well, I don't think I'm as strong as those guys. Well, there's your answer. You're in the super match. You go grind a little bit more.
So Artem is sitting currently at number 2 left-handed and number 8 right-handed.
Yeah, I like arm fighter
I'll bet you do.
right-handed better because it's more like estimated. Like like because I feel like if you do put me against those guys, like I should be like number 2, 3, 4 right there, whatever. Right hand.
Right-handed you should be, you're saying.
Right. Just
Bardo, Rockers, Mosier, Warzinski, Craig Touye, and El Cesar.
all right. Who is the second and third?
Second and third is Touye and Mosier.
Yeah, so I'll beat Mosier, and then I think me and Craig gonna find it out October 21st.
And do you believe you could beat Adam Warzinski?
I do have the tools. We just see how it's gonna end up. I feel like nobody. I mean,
How much would that cost the FAL to contract you to pull Warzinski?
I feel like you have to talk to Adam, and Adam's pretty nice. Me and Adam have this. It's really easy because me and Adam talked. We don't talk a lot, but me and him discuss that, and I'm like, because he's like, well, whoever wants to challenge me, I will ask them put up the money, but I'll put them up too. And I'm like, well, I will not. Like, I will just say like, hey, I'm Adam Rosinski. Like, this how much it costs to pull me. Go ahead and pull me. He's like, man, you'll be right. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm right. But you be a kind person. So I feel like it's since he's the guy that ranked higher is however how much he will demand, right, for his time. But
All right. Unless it's free, I can't afford it. Sorry to tell you.
right.
Sounds like I'm priced out of the competition.
No. See, that's where you go set up something proper. You probably have to spend money to get Adam Wrzynski, right? You don't really need to spend money to get Hunter Knopf. Or you can find a little dirt bike that you can put up Hunter Knopf to win it and be like, yo, Hunter, come bring your team.
We'll find your old 50.
Right, and then there you go. Then you have Gage Boschwick coming, you have Chad Silvers, you got Adam Wrzynski, you got Hunter Knopf, you got the whole gang out there.
I feel like we may need a Florida versus South Carolina next.
Well, they do have I guess I just named like fucking 5 different people. So they do have like a solid show.
Marlene just came down and was destroying Saturday.
Yeah. I saw that.
Dude, she was looking so mean between matches. She didn't want no one to rub her arm. She didn't want no one to talk to her, just pissed off. I was like, how sometimes you see someone and you're like, yeah, I don't want to, I was not going to get up there and arm wrestle her. She looked like she was hitting at 100%. When do we see Artem at Worlds? And can you pass the drug test?
Oh, so that's a little bit my next thing. When they stop the drug testing, I'll go to Worlds. You know what? I do have inspirations. Like I will go to WAF, right? I will not go to IFA, but you do have to but since you're so like jokingly open about the whole gear thing, I feel like it's just unethical, right? Like people talk trash even about Michael Todd competing in IFA, like because like, well, obviously, like you're not clean for the most of your career, so you clean for those couple of months. So, like, I don't know. I don't want to become that guy. So that's why, from the ethical standpoint, like I give up on my dreams, but I would like one day to, find myself. One day I'll drop my morals and go to WAF and compete and shit. But yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask you the question that all of Florida wants to know. And it's a sore spot. A bright red ginger sore spot.
Okay.
What happened with Ryan Bowen? I predicted a stronger showing for you.
Me too.
The travel, I think, got to you. Was tough travel, huh?
Well, Todd said it properly. He said, like, even if you don't think it affected you any, but it's clear that it did. But he had said the like second rounds of both of my matches, I was like done, right? Like the sweat's pouring, all exhausted. Then I feel like shit, but they're just kind of looking back at it, right? Like if you ask me the day off and even the next week, I was thinking just um well, like nobody could predict the travel, I mean, I feel like if it's better travel and going there in time and not sweating the day off, like I feel like I could have been done a lot better, right? It's still I don't know, it's still it's a funny win for Ryan in my opinion. I mean, but he'd get it, but um yeah, I mean, it just traveled. It's I can't really. It's really hard always to talk about it because I feel like I mean, if I was stronger in general, I feel like it should not have mattered. But just looking back at how brutal was pulling and how terrible was like the after pull, like I kind of was like, yeah, it's not all here. But again, if I would have been like one head stronger, I could have maybe
How far did Ryan Bowen have to travel?
I,
This was like the local pub by his house where he has beers on a Friday.
well, no, I don't think it was in his city, but he was making sure to post stories how he was in his bed the day before, sleeping soundly all the time and shit. So
Sure, sure.
yeah, I was really broke on a flight back. Like as soon as I was about to go home, and me and Todd Hutchinson, on our way to the airport, we all talking. We got a taxi all together. We're flying out at the same time, two different flights. We're sticking at the gate, and between our gates, he's looking at his gate. There's a line. I'm looking at my gate. It's empty, and I'm like, I'll go check it out. You go check yours out. Well, his is about to board, and we are there chatting. Mine says the flight's canceled, and I'm like, there's, I'm never getting back home. That was like the last one to where like that's too much now. And then I go to like, then from there I go to figure out what's going on and whatever. The next flight is at 8 o'clock at night. It's fucking 6 in the morning right now, right? And I have another flight that I can do that's at noon. That from my original itinerary. If I can just navigate and swing it like, yo, switch everything to that flight, I can make it, right? So, but that's from with Air New Zealand, and I don't see a fucking kiosk for Air New Zealand. So I go to lady that told me about my cancel flight and all that. I'm like, well, hey, where's Air New Zealand thing? Oh, well, they pop up their hut 3 hours before the flight. I'm like, pop their fucking hut? So they have a little cart that shows up 3 hours before a fucking flight. So I'm there, not even like, dude, I don't even know have enough time to make it happen. So I'm there on the phone with 15 different people, whatever, um, trying to make the switch happen. And I make that switch official in the system, go to the system, try to get my tickets. Like, you're not in the system. I'm like, I'm not in the system, and this lady just fucking canceled my 8 o'clock flight, so I'm on no flights at this point. No, so like it was terrible. Like 10 minutes until like the whole thing about the close and whatever, and flights all take off. I'm in the flight system. The lady about to print my ticket. Another lady like, "Hey, do you have ETA for New Zealand?" And ETA being the visa. I'm like, yeah, I have the Australian one. No, 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 no. They have one for New Zealand. Like, fuck no, to have one for New Zealand. I didn't meant to go to New Zealand in the first place. Well, now I'm going. What the fuck am I gonna do? So the lady takes my phone, like, it's okay, it's like 5 minute thing, we'll bypass it, whatever. Like, it takes my phone, fills up the whole application for the visa real quick. It's gonna be $15. Oh my, I'm fucking paying this $15. She's like, I'm like, yo, why am I doing all of this? The flight is about to fucking take off in like 20 minutes. The lady goes, it's okay, it's delayed a little bit. like like, ma'am, it's not okay. As soon as we land, I have a 40, I have a 45-minute layover to go to Houston. How am I gonna make it from international flight to run to fucking to another flight to go to America on a delayed plane? So she's like, it's gonna be okay. I'm like, man, whatever you say in the radio is not okay. Like,
Yeah.
can I get one break? And she's like, no, 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 they hold doors in New Zealand. I'm like, whatever that means. Fucking Gandalf is out there, like,
Yeah, yeah.
because so, and what at this point I'm messaging Team Talmadge, and I feel like it's him and Kayla. they're like helping me and shit. And Kayla goes, "Hey, New Zealand airport teamed as Lord of the Rings." So everything is in there. That's like Lord of the Rings and shit. I'm like, fuck. Is there going to be a white fucking Gandalf holding doors to me? So anyway, I made that flight, and that's almost like that was like my last, like finally I got a break, and I got another delayed flight to Houston, and then as in Houston I have to spend the night. I'm taking a shuttle to my hotel. I get to the wrong hotel. And I'm like, yo, can I see a fucking bed? Can I see one hotel bed that I paid for in the past fucking days? So got there, then got home days later. It was
That's
terrible.
a horrifying trip.
No,
Everybody,
that just flight back. The flight in, well, I can tell you the flight in story just as bad. It's just a lot longer and it was a lot worse. And 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 I was keeping it nice. Like my attitude was all right to her because like my first flight we canceled from Jacksonville. So I'm like, all right, I can go to Orlando. I can make it happen like the next day. So I'm there making it happen on the next day type thing. And like all those flights you can cancel. To where the guy's like, hey, well, you can still make it on the next flight, and we'll pull whatever Monday, Sunday. I'm like, yo, I appreciate everything, but I have to have a say too. Like I have to be home at some point. Like it is, yeah, mate, come, we'll pull Monday. I'm like, yo, I get it, but I'm, it's already not too fun. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so but yeah. Anyway, I mean, regardless, like the whole situation between the guys, all the Australians, and the pooling, everything perfectly fine. I mean, great time. If you ask me to come back, I mean, they're hosting it in the same fucking spot, so I'll be like, no. But if you host it in Sydney, to where all I have to do is catch a flight to Cali, and then from Cali go there direct, like okay. But catching all these 15 flights within Australia, oh no, baby. Mm-mm.
Everybody wants that free flight till you find out it's Spirit.
Dude, and I mean those tickets. I mean, you're talking about $5,000 ticket too.
Really?
Yeah, those were not like fucking go to Istanbul for $1,200.
How do you think you would fare with Ryan Bowen if this happened in Craig's garage
um,
with Florida refs?
dude, I don't really know necessarily the travel, more so the size difference, because he was 240 pounds. That's not really to me. If we're 20 pounds apart, I feel like that's one thing. When you're 40, 45, that's a solid weight class. So two,
Was he that big?
yeah, he was 240, I was 200. That's I get it. It's being like juiced out 200-pound dude to where like fuck, you walk on 215, 216, right? Have to make a big weight cut. 240, it's a whole another human being. So that's like that's what really me and Paul Lynn had this conversation, which made it really sad for Ryan, to where I had to talk to Ryan about this. As great as the win is, right? I was in my best shape ever. And let's say, Ryan beats me. Let's say nothing affected. Let's say travel was perfect. Let's just say I came there Saturday and I lost 3-0 in the fashion that I did, right? There was some stoppage second round, like got his hand, he took my hand back, all this bullshit. Let's say I was in the perfect shape. That still puts Ryan backwards from where he was when he lost to Coach Ray, because he's at 240 pounds getting his wrist taken.
Well, he
So
was supposed to pull Chance.
yeah, exactly. So, but now let's say people are asking how him Coach Ray will repull. Coach Ray will beat him worse now, probably, because Ryan has to drop 40 pounds again to face Coach Ray, because Coach Ray is not as dumb as me. So now Ryan has to drop 40 pounds, which he probably holds on to very proudly. That they probably hold on some power behind it, in his opinion. So dropping 40 pounds, it's kind of making like a major drop. I mean, it's like two steps backwards, right? It's not even like one. So it's like, I don't know, like that's being in a funny spot. So there's still like was many haters on Ryan's weight difference and shit, but all I told Ryan, I feel like he's in a, I don't know if path is correct, but in my opinion, if he wants to stay on the path, that weight quality has to change, right? I don't know if you can be 200 to 40 pounds, but you can be 220 to 25 at better quality that, we look 40 pounds apart, but we don't look that much different in size. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's got to be some type, like, and that's gonna matter. Like that's, you have to face people that you on weight, and that's a little tough when your weight is 240.
You're telling me that Leonidas is 240 and Ryan Bowen's 240 are different?
A little bit.
A little bit. What is next for you?
So I have a couple of things going on, right? Like, I am invited to Illuminati Vital party. So tomorrow I am going to be pulling one of the only people to pull Devon, probably left-handed, and then which is some bullshit, right? I should not really say that. So this Saturday, September 23rd, we have a tournament with Travis, which is where I'm going to pull, and I'm in a good, like, I'm not picked out, but I'm in a good shape to go test myself out, and then October 21st. I'll be picking out for the round robin. Versus all the 12 guys in it. Well, 11.
You look pretty favorited at that.
Right. People like, we can talk about the whole prediction shit because I feel like people are wild and not recognize how much juice everybody else going to be on by the time October 21st comes in. Like,
Yeah.
make the prediction. And I feel like every time you see that separate post, hey, who beats who? Right. And there's this and this. If people don't read the round or don't know the history, like I feel like that's how they're picking the winners. But like, dude, like you have to acknowledge that that's round number 9 and this 8 people already pulled. Yeah, maybe fresh for fresh. This guy has something, but by the time like you don't like, I feel like a lot of those guys that has to face each other pretty early, those first 4-5 rounds, that's all they're gonna have.
Yeah.
And the
They're gonna
rest,
be burnt.
a lot of them just gonna have to end up going like this for the next 5 matches, unless some easy enough guy for them to come back to get that eccentric back in, right? So, but that's really, people don't really care about me participating. I feel like in big things. So, super match time is December 2nd. Me and Paul Lynn left-handed.
Amazing. We got about 5, 6, I think, Florida guys at the Monster Factory.
Right. I'm just trying to make sure I'm the only one. I'm the only one that gets paid. That's
You're the
why
only one that's getting paid. Gotcha.
pretty sure me and Michael have that in that contract.
And what is the going rate for Artem to pull super match? If a promoter is looking around, what do they need? What is a ticket? It's a ticket $1,000.
We can negotiate in that area. That's Michael Todd likes that area as well.
Okay.
If you're out of state guy and I don't like your personality too much, could be 1,500. But no. But on a serious note, it's always depends on it. Well, actually, no, I should not say that. It should always cost at least $1,000 to get me anywhere within the United States, and let's see, like that can be arranged more or less, but that can include everything, travel and hotel and whatever, right? But because nowadays you have to accommodate for the travel, for the sucky travel, because it's okay. Like, all right, I'm going to an arm wrestling tournament, you know, I'm taking off Friday, Monday, you're losing whatever on average who makes 200, 250, $400. How much crazy money you making a day? I feel like on average, if you're making like $1,000 a week as a grown adult, let's say you are losing $200 a day. So you're not talking about as losing because you have some money saved. So you're willing to go take the day off, go there, you know, fucking flight canceled, something in happened, whatever, they're all pissed off and shit. So now that what pissed off shit happens when you go there somewhere for free to help somebody out, and then the attitude is not there, and then the travel is shitty, and then you're not having a good time, and you did it all for free, and then you wanted to be there in a positive attitude, but you can't because like all of this shit happened that you're not acknowledged for, right? Somebody was an asshole to you, travel was terrible, all that shit, and you get it for free. So now you're thinking you lost money, right? And you hate everybody, even in a position you should not, but you're not in control of everything else. So that's why nowadays, because I've done so much free travel, like Still, like up to right now, like I still dumb enough. You schedule me in a good day, like, oh yeah, man, I'll come for a hotel. But I still nowadays I try to tell myself I've been to Australia, man. Like now I have to protect myself just so I don't lose money, right? Like I've never really scheduled anything that where I'm like making tons of money. Like it's usually I'm just trying not to lose. And if travel happens to be cheap enough, I'll make a couple $100. But I'm just trying to break even for the most part.
The Zloty tour in your future.
If Igor, if you know what, if Igor comes back and he is nice to everybody, then sure. But another day he was live streaming with Paul Italia. I sent him a super chat saying everybody loves Igor, and Paul and Pablo both read it, and Igor's face went completely like neutral and sour. I said thank you.
Well, that's a start.
It's a start. It's a start. Respect that. I respect that. So, but I don't know. I feel like you got to see that my position in arm wrestling only changed and better since he left. And because some people like care less and whatever, they kind of lose what they had. But I'm like, no, I feel like I'm still here. So like, I feel like he ought to give in a little bit and become friends.
Do we get to see Artem at the Florida Arm Wrestling League in one of the last 4 events?
No, because Florida Arm Wrestling League still has semi-pro class and shit.
He's sticking to his guns.
Well,
He's
no.
sticking to his-
I told you how to fix it since day one. Let's create some type of proper rules to where everybody have the system. Which kind are you? Let's have some belts going. I don't know, to where like there's a proper definition, because I'll get in a fight with you by you not liking the pool semi-pros, right? Because they're not.
Let's talk about it. Let's hash it out right here.
All right.
Tell me what do we lack with the requirements for semi-pro?
There's got to be a proper written or trackable structure to where people that come to you, who's an amateur, who's a pro, and who's a semi-pro. So there's so you can defend or not defend Paul Italia, right? So you cannot.
When Paul Italia wins 3 semi-pro events, he's not allowed to do semi-pro, just like winning 3 amateur events.
But what if he already pulled amateurs before that, or he pulled pro before that?
He hasn't pulled pro.
How do you know that?
I've talked. I had a personal sit down with him and talked to him. He's had 2 tournaments in his life. They were both amateur, 3 now, and he just tried semi-pro. So in a scenario using him for an example, it would be with Paul wins 2 more semi-pro, he's forced into pro permanently.
Okay, so if what I'm gonna go pull semi-pros then.
You've already won pro. If you win a pro class, you have to pull pro from that point on.
What if I want to pull semi-pros?
Yeah, you can't. You've won pro.
It's what point can I pull semi-pros?
At what point can you? Now you can't. You could have when you started.
Yeah, but what if I quit arm wrestling and I come back in 2 years all washed up, and I'll come in, I want to pull semi-pros.
Okay, so if that did happen, and this happens from time to time, you may, because as humans, we can't keep track and police everybody. This is
What do you mean you can't keep track? That's the whole point, motherfucker.
Well, if you leave 8 years later and come back from a fucking retirement, yeah, we might not remember you. I'm pretty sure we would. A lot of these guys that come back, like here, we have an example. We got a guy came back. He's like, hey, in the 2000s, he was a legit guy. Okay, so he comes back and he asks me, where should I be pulling? I, deep down in my heart, think he should be pulling in the pro. Right. But because he is showing up and I don't know his level, I say, let's see where you put yourself where you need to be. This guy has tried to pull semi-pro and now has not won it out of 4 attempts. So he actually put himself in the exact place he should have been. Now in that scenario, let's say he would have dominated. We would have just made the decision no. But again, what you're talking about here is like the guy coming out of retirement. It's like a very specific situation. The average guy, the ruling is if you have 3 amateur victories, you need to pull semi-pro. And if you have 3 semi-pro victories, you're forced to pull pro. If you win pro, you are permanently pro. You know, one of the distinctions in the Olympics is have you made money from your sport or not? This is the distinction. Have you been in a professional event? And once you have, you lose your amateur status. You know, so winning this professional event, you are losing your amateur semi-pro status. We all know the amateur and semi-pro are essentially the same thing divided, right? We want a little bit of a gap between your local guy that's his first day and then facing Brad Grundy, Chance Shaw, and Dane Sellers. Or, you know, that's a gap. So for you, it wasn't. You are going to have the most extreme view where you didn't need it, neither do they. However, I think it's a great thing. Consider it the minor leagues.
Well, it's not even that I do gonna have the view, but it's also because like that's the only view I've seen, right?
Well, how do you feel about our requirement system?
I
What do
was
we need to
I
improve there?
I was introduced to a new thing. From what you said, it sounded sound as long as there is like a legitimacy, like track of that. You know, what I mean, if you're not legitimate, like people to do anything else, right? I do believe I'm missing on some points because this whole conversation sound pretty weak on my side. So I do believe I have to hate on something else because that was not it.
So I'll
But
give you a good example. Here we are we had a young man, Jarrett Ryan, who's 15 years old. He wins 3 amateur events right away. While he's pulling amateur, he also starts pulling semi-pro. Quickly, within like 4 or 5 tournaments, he maxes out his amateur and semi-pro wins. This kid now only pulls pro. He can't go back down. He is in the pros from now on the rest of his life, and he is 16 years old. Now, how would he have done straight into the pro day one? I don't think he would have did that good. I tell you right now, he's a real threat. And I think that was because of you got a true 15, 16-year-old that's a threat. And he actually started in the amateurs.
right,
Now,
well,
he blew through every class he pulled in the amateur, so he never got to pull it again. He found some competition in the semi-pros.
right. So it's like
You can't stop. Ultimately, this is what it is in arm wrestling. You're not going to be able to stop or put first timers in a level. When you're talking about guys like me or you that come back ethically, I mean, if we we're talking about, I would say once you've ever pulled pro, even if you have a 20-year break, you should still be pulling pro. But
well, that's where my back to with my original, I guess, problem of the idea of semi-pro class. The guy that you just explained, it
the
sounds
kid,
yeah, the kid, the 6-year-old, it sounded like he could just pull pros if he had so much drive.
sure, he could have, but ultimately it was 3 events later. He ended up in the pros anyways, and he maxed himself out. It didn't hurt him or I think any of the competition for him to have that little buffer between going from the first time guy straight into Mike Newman. And what I did, I think it created a scenario where we developed him. He slowly got fed like you're taking on harder and harder competition. In 2 years from now, you may fucking be pulling Hermes. I mean, if they keep gradually stepping you up, you didn't beat Brett Rockers overnight. It was like Mosier and I remember when you were pulling Kyle Haybear and Grant Bundy, so
I don't believe I have graduals. I have like peaks and valleys, but forced ones, right? Because I will take a match I should not take, then I go to beat somebody I should not be beating even less, but it happens. Then I go back to have a match with somebody I should not have at all. So, but yeah,
and in all fairness too, you're an idiot. So am I. We like to take matches we should lose.
Right, but that's the whole point, and I feel like that's the whole point of not having a semi-pro and amateur class.
Well, no, this is the thing. That is the whole point. It's just you can't expect a new guy to get to that point on his first or second tournament. They're not gonna come in. I'm just telling from a promoter standpoint, they are not gonna come in with their life devoted. But you give them 3-4 tournaments of gradual progression. I will have this young kid on next show. Life's all about arm wrestling. So I get what you're saying. Maybe he could have been thrown to wolves. We'll never know. But the fact is not many people can. Let's say he could have. Let's say he's the outlier. We throw him straight there. He's taking third place right away. He wasted his fucking time in there. That's all. He's the outlier. He is the 1%, right? The other 90% of guys, they need that shit. They're not going to do anything for 10 years.
Oh, I guess what it really comes down to, sorry to interrupt you, but it really comes down to that, it generally speaking, like I will still say that the idea of the class is garbage, amateurs and semi-pros. However, it's clear to me that you do have examples of who are those classes ideal for, right? The ideal case scenario, that's what you explained, right? The guy that did the stuff and got maybe got, even he liked it or not, but he got into the frame to you only have to pull cool dudes now, right? And that's what's cool about it, right? And if he's happy about it or not, that's where he's at. So those, I believe, are very those are very good examples, right? And I think if that's the case, then I'm all about it, right? I feel like I'll just all personally hate it when I see like,
well, let me explain the strongest part of it is this. My job as a promoter is to get people to come to the tournament. I have no problem with that. The problem that I have is getting them to come back to the tournament. If all my first timers became second and third timers, we would be having 500 entry tournaments this year. 30 of these guys that show up, it's their first time. The problem is they get busted upside their heads so bad when there's no semi-pro and amateur. Let's just say they're all to the pro. They're not going to come back. Ultimately, what I want if I want to grow Florida arm wrestling, I need in a perfect scenario, I need all the guys that show up their first time. I need all them to come back. And then I need all the new guys, them to come back. And then we have this snowball effect where it's growing and our pool of arm wrestlers is huge. So what it does is it keeps the guy encouraged, bro. That's my job as a promoter, is to keep someone encouraged and create something that they want to come back to. So cutthroat arm wrestling like we're in, where it's all or nothing, you take on the king or die on the mountain. That is what we do, is the most extreme perspective of it. A lot of these guys, they might not be as determined as me and you, or where they're enthusiastic about just getting shit on all the time.
Oh, I'm not even thinking about that, right? Like I'm almost thinking that you confused enough for a long time, right? But there is that buffering moment. For some, it's only how you say it, it's not wrong, but it hurts certain people rather than helps, right? Like the guy that you explained, it probably helped him the most ever, right? Like the guy that John Hutchinson, right? If he like when the whole thing came in and he went to like semi-pros, like that's like the dumbest thing ever to do for him, right? So like I feel like there's cases, and like the cases that you bring up are solid. So I'm mostly probably butthurt about the guys that end up being confused and probably end up in the buffering while she should be skipping levels, in my opinion. But that's what
I think you would be surprised. What we're talking here is theoretical. If we go look at what's actually happening, the practicality is,
well,
it's a beautifully competitive.
all you have to do is I see what you're saying, but I think all you have to do to prove your point too is just keep the track of the first amateur guys and semi-pros and see the retention from the tournament to tournament, right? And see if you got the same 33 people the second time, right? Those names, right? And have the retention sheet.
So I think that we kind of did an experiment. First time we launched semi-pro, there's like 2 guys in each class. Nobody signs up and they're like, what is this? Now, I would argue that of course it doesn't give you 100% retention, but it is definitely higher. Without a doubt. And I mean, and you see it, we talk about this, Paul Italia. He's probably not pulling amateur again. So the next time you see him at FAL, he's going to pull semi-pro, and that's probably it for him. So he's one of the guys that's fallen now into the semi-pro category. To throw him straight to Matt King and he ain't ready for that. And I'll tell you what.
I get it. I get it, but that's we just going back. Whenever we talk about it like this, it's like talking about LGBT.
Well, listen, I believe in your theory.
So we all want to be like everybody going to be equal. We all want to have everybody have the same rights. Everybody plays.
No. Listen, if we are creating an Olympic team, we need the dream team. And it's just the best of the best. Yes, we just run everybody in the pure open class.
All right.
But ultimately, this is a sport where we're trying to develop. So I think the semi-pro thing,
from retention standpoint and creating the league, yeah, you're definitely correct. Yeah.
It is worth it to crunch the numbers though and see. We got an interesting comment in here. It says, Top Hands Pulling Team says, let's have a season like baseball where there's a point system with a championship. I like the way you think, Top Hands Pulling Team. If only they would do that in Florida. That would be a great idea. We got a guy, Arm Wrestling Wiz, says, I like how it's split. Great to metal and reflects back like it bigger, the bigger classes for increasing. That's the other side that can be made for Artem's argument, is you are making the classes smaller by splitting them up. So if we had 10 guys in pro and 5 semi-pro, 5 amateur, that could be a 20-man class, which is an amazing day in anybody's book. The craziest class I've ever been in my life. I was in a class of, I think 30 or 25 at UAL and 39 at WAL. And these are crazy fucking classes when there's 40 guys in your class. You're like,
well, it's cool to say something. I mean, I get it when you first started, everything is excited, but like, fuck, I won second to first place out of the fucking 3 people in semi-pros. It's not the same like fucking third or fourth place out of 20 jack dudes, and 4 of the names like matter, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's all different. Yeah, I get it. But yeah, if you're talking, that's what I'm saying, the retention is a strong point. But yeah, I guess I just want for everybody, and see, and I still debate on that, because I think hardly it depends who I talk to. Like if I talk to Todd Hutchings a lot, Mike, these conversations are a lot shorter. To like, no, fuck all of this shit. You stupid as fuck. Go back to training and go to the, I see you the tournament. And that's what it really comes down to. I'm just biased when it comes down to my people, right? And somebody like, hey man, it's my first tournament. Oh yeah, baby, go pull amateurs, right? See where it goes. But then like if I have to think about it, like, nah, don't go to the first tournament. Train a couple more times, see where you're at. If you're the guy that kind of dominates your practice, you go to a tournament, you pull pros, right? That's, the problem people having in America, they see a flyer and they take it as a must go. And
okay, so I want to ask you something real quick. Me and you, we like to wrestle, right?
Okay.
If we go to, we always do contests and different things. Let's say me and you go to jiu-jitsu competition.
Okay, if the next 3 minutes a word bounce house comes out of your mouth, I'm gonna slap you.
What the fuck? Everybody knows I whooped your ass in that.
I'm just saying that's gonna be a very biased conversation.
Everybody knows. Let me tell the story since he brought it up. I basically had to beat his ass after my daughter's birthday in a bounce house.
Can I start this first? Can I start the story first and then you go?
Hold on. Yeah, well, go ahead. You tell the story.
I go into the jump house.
This didn't involve a bounce house, but we'll go down this road.
All right, I'll go to the bounce house. That's, in my opinion, gonna be jumpy house as well. I go right in there, to which I never seen an indoor bounce house type thing, right? We kind of go inside and there's like a room there type thing. And I'm like, yo, bro, Brandon's at.
It might as well have been the garage of pain that he was walking into.
And keep in mind, you're not walking in, you're crawling in. I'm crawling in on my force. I'm like, where's Brandon at? I hear a sound. I look up. I'm on my
He heard glass breaking, the Stone Cold entrance music.
Brandon is right on top of me. And that's from where you can take your story.
Yeah, then I kicked his ass. There's not much story to tell. I threw him around like a rag doll and looked like Khabib snatching Connor up. The opposite. Got one back for America just because I knew Khabib was coming.
So yeah,
Absolutely ridiculous.
so
But that's not what I was going to talk about. What I was
yeah.
going to say was if me and you go to the BJJ competition, I think we're super heavies, right? We're like, it's over 200 pounds or something there.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, I guess.
Maybe, whatever. But we're going to roll with Gordon Ryan today. You're signing up in the pro black belt class.
I mean, am I allowed to sign up for black belt class?
If they let you, that's where you're putting your $100 is in the pro black belt for the day.
If they're letting me, that's what I'm signing up for.
Okay. I respect that.
I'm probably not gonna be there because I'm not fucking dumb, but you give me, I'll roll.
Well, let's be honest. After the performance you put on in the bounce house, you ain't gonna be there. Okay. They ain't giving you the call back. If Gordon Ryan if Dana White sees that, you're not on the Contender Series. I'm just telling you, don't include that in your highlight.
But see, again, I believe that jiu-jitsu is not a sport that it can just happen, right? I feel like I have to have some type of credentials to be like, so I have to be some type of shitty black belt at that point.
Well, I don't actually know. Yes, I do believe that. I believe you.
I see what you're saying, but I feel like there's got to be some stronger point where there's more sports you can just go in, right? And I think there's a problem.
Travis talks about this, that you can basically arm wrestle Michael Jordan day one for $25. Yeah, that is one of the absolute problems in arm wrestling.
I'm saying, so I feel like
this is one of the beauties of flow arm, though. And I know you're not the biggest fan of all these ideas, but having the belt system.
Hold on. I like what Travis said the other day. What Travis said.
Oh my God, he's so fucking. Listen, let me tell you this.
Hold on,
the stars and circle fucking bracket system. He stole that from me, and he tells me he taught that to me.
Then, well, hold on. Then September 23rd event, and then when you guys went in, like, oh, we're gonna talk about the H and this, and then like, bro, we talked about it in the garage smoking a blunt. So that's why you feel like I hate FAL. You forgot that I created it.
I know you love FAL deep down.
Yeah, but I created it. That was my idea.
Artem, everything has been your idea.
Yeah. No. Just FAL. Don't say everything. You know,
hold on. King of Florida too.
Well, that was a mutual thing. King of Florida.
Oh, okay. I did.
King of Florida was a. Oh, hold on. Did that come up with the name, or did you come up with the name?
You definitely did not. Slow down. The Toproll King. I may have even created that name. Okay.
No.
Do you remember the very first page I created for you on Facebook?
You get maybe a photography page of some kind.
It was a photography page. Y'all listen to this when this guy's a millionaire who created his first photography page and believed in him. Do you remember what it was called?
Oh, Artem Taranenko Professional Photography?
No, it was called Arm Sports HD.
Oh, okay.
So Tim Talmadge, you probably owe me some money too.
Arm Sport Entertainment,
yeah. That sounds a little bit like he stole my shit, and Artem could vouch. But so don't say I wasn't a believer. I created your first page.
I love it.
Which I still have to get updates every time some asshole clicks on it.
I got you. Hey, you'll be proud of me though. So now all this years later, I rented me a Dodge Challenger to go to Tennessee to pull in round robin.
Good. I am proud of you. You got the Hemi?
We'll see. We'll see how lucky it gets once I get there.
Yeah, they tried to give us that fucking Mustang that day. You remember that?
No, they tried to give us Scat Pack that day. But like, oh, you guys are too late. You guys gave away the Scat.
Yeah, that was just some ghetto dude probably baiting us with it, lying.
But we just had the Hemi, so yeah.
Absolutely. All right, let me see if we got any last minute questions for Artem. You guys want to know his cycle? Put it down in the chat below for a $5 super chat. I can get you all the details. How are you going to do against Travis in this tournament?
Right-handed, I'm going to beat him. Left-handed, we shall see.
Well, I hope you don't beat him as bad as I beat your ass in that
So,
house.
so so I talked about it, and I feel like it was just in a private text message, and I feel like if I talk about it publicly, it's going to be kind of messed up. But I feel like,
No.
I feel like it's too late now.
Sorry, Travis.
Sorry, Travis. But so there's many rules to life, right? But there's this book behind me actually. There's the book, The 48 Laws of Power.
Sure.
I feel like the very first law is you never outshine your master.
I never.
So, but there's a conclusion at the end, like it's impossible for human beings, right, technically, because you should be the guy. But there's a point, if you ever need to outstep your master, you just pick a proper point where he's the weakest and you slaughter him. So I feel like that's where, from now on, if me and Travis are pulling left-handed, I'm only gonna hook him, because that gives him 100% chance of beating me, right? And like, all right, we're still friends. And if one day that hook sets in, then my hook should not set in. Today is that day. Today is the day I should be giving my flowers. So
yeah, good.
It might not happen for the next 10, and it's fine by me.
They asked Floyd Mayweather, why are you trained by your uncle, not your dad, when your dad is such a good fighter too? You know, his father and dad were great. I mean, his uncle and dad were great fighters. They said, why were you trained by your uncle? And he said he would never have the chance to shine while he's around his dad. So you may have to cut Travis's head off to become the beast yourself.
That's what I'm saying. And if I don't, like, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll just keep trying harder. So, but I sent a video today of Georgie and Devin to Travis, and I texted him. I'm like, dude, you cannot tell me that you cannot do this right now. Maybe not right now, but like, man,
he could beat Georgie Svetkov with 6 weeks.
Yeah, but but Travis talks about all this stuff like, oh man, I was this and this. Yeah, that was like fucking 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Like, it's still not that far, but like, kind of like going back to Daniel's injury. Like, the longer you not take care of it, like, this conversation does become kind of long.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, with that little bit of that NFL money, that might be all Travis needs to take off. A little bit of relaxation.
Hey, hold on. Can you actually, because I can't do it because me and Travis have a podcast together. And as soon as I try to give him any type of credit, like, it's like, oh, Travis's little buddy, fucking giving him like whatever. Like, they can't really comprehend that our relationship are like, so like, we can't be far apart if they have to be. But I feel like you're the perfect guy because you explained it to me how much of a goat Travis can technically be in arm wrestling conversation, right? Because of what he has done left-handed and right-handed.
Yeah, well, if you want to argue, so my argument would be that Travis is the greatest arm wrestler to ever live.
Right, and why you say?
Why would I say that?
Right.
Okay, so I would say, if you want to say that, we measure greatest in two phases. We could say greatest run, which I think he has also, and then you could say probably if we have everybody polls at their peak moment. So with Travis, I mean, you watch the fucking Rise of Vovoda video on the Arm Historian. How crazy is Vovoda? He was the shit. So every 10 years, it's like the Godzilla, the Loch Ness monster rises up, and then they call this fucking cross-eyed American to come cut his head off. And Travis just is, I mean, dude, listen, he might be a regular dude here, but it kind of seems like if everything shits the bed with Levon and Devin just can't do it. we got to put a fucking beast signal in the sky like Batman. Travis is the go-to that you call upon when shit gets dark, right? I guarantee you, if nobody can beat Levon, that Travis will make the most interesting run at it. 20 years ago, they said that Levon was Vovoda. He was beating everybody just inside, not even fucking no body movement. Travis whacks him upside his head. You've seen while Ingen's telling him he's going to lose. You bring him back 10 years later, he's still smacking Devin left-handed. They're going back and forth. He has a run over Chafee, Cataract. These are all the guys that are 3-4 on Earth. Spanks them all in the same day, all while maintaining pretty much the greatest left arm on the planet. And Travis is left-handed. So
he writes with left hand. Yes.
Yeah. So this isn't that spectacular that he's winning left-handed, right? Okay. So his strong arm is stronger than 90% of people's, 90% of people, their weak arm is their left arm. But what's fucking amazing is this dude was the best right-handed also. He's not right-handed.
Right.
Who do you know that's right-handed that was the best lefty in the world? Maybe Devin?
Well, what about John? How good is John's left?
John's has never been the best in the world.
Okay.
Never been that good. So this fucking guy beat everybody on the planet with his bad arm, with the hand he can't even fucking write with. That's what's impressive.
Oh, why do you put it like that?
Yeah. I mean, it would be like me. I'm not even left-handed, but I'm beating Oleg with my weak fucking hand that I can't sign my name on a check with, but I can beat Oleg with it. No, that's not happening anywhere. So that's what's fucking amazing is he held down the left for 20 years and then the right hand, he's fucking destroying that. And then the other factor is when I seen the WAL start reporting the little G meters and all the stuff, the accelerometers that they were putting on people, and you would see like most people's numbers would be like 0.79, 0.8, and then Travis is like 0.25. Like, I believe Travis has probably got the unique situation of being one of the fastest reaction time arm wrestlers. And he's the only one that's even in that realm of speed at super heavyweight.
Correct, because might not even seem like that, but even people overseas, they always will talk about Travis's speed, right? Because I
think his speed is his ability to time and predict.
Right,
is very enhanced.
The specific subject, like it's the difference between the timing, the speed, the reaction to the referee and saying to go. Yeah, it's all of that.
Yeah, Travis seems like his unique set of skills would be great for like the snatch the coin out of my hand game, right? It's like as soon as he sees you moving, he just shuts his hand slowly. And you're like, he's not that fast, but you can never fucking touch the coin. Right? He's sensing that moment you move.
Right.
And you're not getting, so I would argue that Travis is as strong in his moment as Dave Chafee, but as fast as Corey Miller. Right. And I think this is the one thing you're going to lack when you line up all these super heavies. One of the best displays of a tournament that I seen him pull in was a class that had Richard Lubke, Ron Bath, everybody else. And it's the first time I've seen someone dance through the tournament, right? He puts a little bit of commitment, loses the match to Ron or Lubke, and then just lets everybody else annihilate themselves and smoke each other. So I think that the dude's ability to track the timing and gauge and predict the movement, and that combined with the top level speed, I think if you line, this is just my opinion, Travis is my boy, maybe I'm biased, right? But I think if you line everybody up on their greatest day ever, I think the Travis that flashed Dave Chafee and Jerry Cataract flashes every single person just the same. This is my opinion.
Right. Well, yeah.
The other thing is Travis has an incredible ability to tell you something 10 years before it happens.
Well,
without a doubt. This guy told me, he fucking told me 10 years ago that Tyson's going to the NFL and the kid is 15 years old or 14. And he told me this. That kid's going to, he also told me Ezra is going to, he's telling me the whole fucking layout. yo, this one's going, blah, blah. And you know, in my mind, I'm like, dude, you can really fucking make shit happen, but you can't make, you know, I seen him right before he was going to beat Chafee and Cataract and everybody. And Walker, dude, I'm so fucking strong. No one gonna touch me today. And, you know, and you would think he acts like that all the time, right? I think Travis has a unique ability to speak things into existence, and he understands the power of
Well,
preaching it into the universe.
you know what have changed in the last months, but specifically last week. I've been getting phone calls from him on specific day. I don't know what day it is. I think it's a Monday, but at 10 o'clock and like at night. And then I'm at bed by 9 usually, right? So it's like it's a little weird. And like last time I caught it, I'm like, oh shit, Travis calls 10 o'clock. Check and yo. I'm like, yo, what's up? Yo, tell me why am I so fucking strong right now? So we're now to the stage where he's pulling people and he is getting better at it, and it's fast for him. And yeah, he's excited for himself. So I don't know if he needs it or not, but I mean, I'm excited as shit. Well, it's also he knows that I need to hear it, so that's why he does that, right? So the first time he got the separation machine, he FaceTime Engin and he FaceTime me. Oh, Artem needs to see this shit. Like, yeah, because like everybody knows want to know the updates. So whenever I got to see him on the fucking thing, I'll screenshot that shit. Like, yo,
Yeah, this is the real thing, and this is my very honest opinion with Travis, is that milligram for milligram, he would smoke everybody. I just think he's more scared of the milligrams than the others. Right. I don't think I think if you put Travis on the Levon stack or the Devon stack or whatever, however many pancakes they eat per day, Travis is out of control. But Travis has a real rational he realizes
yeah, like if we're all here for the money, right? Like Travis got the money, right? And he unfortunately already done beat so many people too. So yeah, like for him, like all this, like that's why he will do that for more money, right? And he says about it very openly, right? You give him all that ridiculous amount that will tickle him, that he'll go for it, right? So, and
but I don't think he really will. I don't think he really will, because he's already so comfortable. If you put $100,000 out, a new up and coming guy, Kardecha, whoever, they'll fucking risk dying to win that. I believe Travis
they might, but I feel like you give Travis those 100 grand, he will do what he normally will do, and that will be just enough.
Sure, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is I think he will always do the just enough minimum amount of pancakes to win it. I don't think, and as far as I've talked to him, he doesn't want to turn that clicker, that volume button too high.
Okay, because like that's something we've been talking about, how nowadays a conversation about Dennis Teplenko, how Dennis, when Dennis got sick for the first time, right?
Yeah.
Dennis always got a bad rap for steroid use, right? Like it's Dennis too juiced up, Dennis need to stop, Dennis this, oh, Dennis in the hospital, he's gonna die. Dennis need to stop armwrestling, stop juicing, right? But then they have Devin Larrett, who's went from like, oh, Devin may be natty, yeah, Devin may be, oh, Devin, you eating pancakes. Oh, we love the pancakes idea. You need more pancakes. Let's do more of that. Oh, we got stem cells. Oh, we can do stem cells like this and this. Like,
well, I'll tell you, hypocrisy has existed forever.
Well, I get it, but it is like I will always respect Travis's point of being I don't know, old school or minimalistic or not caring too much. But I mean, I guess if it's all of this, like it's all cheating in one's opinion, right? But I feel like when you're in that pedigree and you're thinking about that stuff, like if you think we were crossing the line before, but now we're like fucking stem celling it, cross DNA modifying, our chicken is fucking made in the lab. Like everything is insane. So now it's like, yeah, it is kind of wild. And then it's like, all right, well, somebody is not willing to turn the clicker and still perform.
All we got to do is ask ourselves.
Like one of the cool example, because there are a lot of people right now look at arm wrestling and they're like, oh man, like where do I get stem cells? But there's one guy still, and the guy is Todd Hutchings, who still thinks of every new thing or whatever is there as a gimmick. So that's like, oh yeah, like it's y'all stem cells is like, whatever fucking, um, you know, turmeric. Like why, like it's not so, and still does well, perform well on just being like, your old school type of guy, I think. So I don't know.
I would say this is how you prove a point anytime you're ever unsure of something. Just take it to both extremes, right? Does wearing my seatbelt help? Well, if I don't fucking wear it and we crash at 100, I die. If we do wear it and I don't crash, I live, right? Right. These are the extremes. It's very low risk to wear it first. So the seeing that Toddzilla's against it doesn't surprise me. But you're gonna get these old school guys like this that can do anything, but they can survive on anything. Give them one Bud Light and they crush everybody. But if you had to prove the extreme for juice to gills, all this, right? And we knew they were dying tomorrow, it kills you tomorrow to win the tournament. Everybody would say, fuck it, right? That's the extreme. The alternative is it does nothing. So I think what you'll do is you'll see as we get closer to the extreme end of it, more drugs, more stem cells, more recovery, more hyper this, hyper that. You'll get a natural progression of things, just like bodybuilding or wrestling. When the first nosebleed happens on that table and they die at that table, this whole shit will change, right? We've experienced this a couple times in Florida. A few of our guys just falling out and dying suddenly. Unfortunately, we lost someone at King of Florida. And so that, this is the real part, whether it is induced by something or not. Until you get to that threshold, it won't seem very obvious. Right. And I've been the pancake advocate for 10 years, and now I'm leaning the opposite way. But you are right in the more we push the limits scientifically, the riskier this game becomes. So when you got stem cells next, are we going to be, you see the UFC is even crazy at this point, dude. They're on hyper cocktails of untested drugs and straight to IVs, which arm wrestling is now at that level. Everybody's getting IVs after weight cuts. So we're getting there. But I personally never really considered, because there's no such thing as natural. Like we talked about, guy said he's off for 4 weeks and now he's natty. So if I woke up today and I didn't eat no pancakes, but I drank 4 Mountain Dews, is that natural? Right? I'm hopped up on a bunch of caffeine and creatine and protein powder, and I ate some Skittles with who knows what chemicals all in that bitch, right? So what's really natural? I never hung up on what's natural, but it's like everything, right? What you really want to see is 4 dumpsters and 2 steroided out Kimbo slices with knives fighting it out to the death, right? That's really what people want, right? This is a fucking gladiator. This is the Coliseum. What we got to do as athletes is ask ourselves, how far are you willing to go? Because the guy that outjuices you and beats you, he didn't really beat you because he juiced up. He beat you because he's willing to do more than you to win in a lot of regards, right? Like, if it said you got to smoke crack to beat the guy, are you willing to fucking beat him suddenly, Artem? Suddenly, Artem's found a realm where he's like, no, you know what? Second place is okay for me. And that's the same wall I think that a lot of people are hitting. So, yeah, in a perfect world, I think the way we would address this is we would have a tested and untested league. And tested league would look like Zloty Tour. The untested league would be Zloty Tour. The tested would be WAF. But you guys ain't sending me enough super chats for that. So Artem's gonna stay nice and saucy.
Yeah, I'm staying natty.
All right, man. Any last questions in here? Let's see. Forced by gunpoint to be natural. Who is number 1? Devin still? Great question. Forced by gunpoint to be natural. Who is number 1? Answer that one before we go. What's your opinion?
Number one in the world?
In the world.
Oh, that's almost like I never fucking think about that. Levon, in my opinion, until point.
Well, Vaughn was my size at All Natty.
Oh, hold on. I thought it was the guy's username.
No,
Not
no. Forced by gunpoint is not his username.
okay. What's the whole question then?
All right. Real Joseph Anthony says, if forced by gunpoint to be natural, who is number one?
Ah, my guy. Oh,
Politalia Cigar has joined the chat.
you're forced by gunpoint to be natural. Who's number one? Travis Bagent, right? Because he still got the athleticism.
No. I'm going to say I disagree with that. Travis is a werewolf with 1 grain of salt, but without salt,
Gotcha.
I believe he is human.
I will say I know why my pick is shitty. I know why my pick is shitty.
I'm gonna go ahead and say currently, right now, I would go with Kurdecha or Vitali.
Gordesha hasn't even like been long enough. I feel like.
Yeah, but he might be that big naturally, close to it. He might just be some huge guy.
Sure, we all born huge guys, and we're fucking 300 pounds by the age of 16 or some shit.
So the Halfdoor he gives me the most appearance that he might be the biggest guy naturally there. Well, this is an amazing question. It's got Artem stumped.
No, I feel like your pick is so much shittier than mine.
Well, who's yours? Yours is Travis?
It's Travis because like I'm saying like Natty from the get-go. Like Alex Kurdish came in army.
I'm gonna change my vote, okay?
In
Assuming that by natural we can still have beer. I'm going with Toddzilla.
Okay.
I think you could take the drugs off Toddzilla and he would still walk.
Drugs.
That's out of control.
Ah,
Ungerbayev.
I'm about to pass out. That was a good laugh. Argabayev is a good one because of the. But man, who knows? Like Argabayev could be fucking Egan's fucking minstrel for the past 20 years, being all skinny and tall that he is. Going to
Benji Mack, we need you to get us the address. You are the winner of the giveaway we had last week.
All right. So, yeah, I feel like, but yeah, so from natural at gunpoint, I feel like it has to be kind of natural your whole life, and you came in arm wrestling, you stand at it, and you're still there. That's what I'm saying. Like Travis's position in arm wrestling and his perspective and whatever, I feel like does it enhance and not enhance. But then Todd's approach too, but they're very similar in the styles too, and kind of approach is different, but there's so many similarities. So that's kind of, you can see how you can throw up to.
Oh, we're fucking wrong. RVJ. Come on, he's the natty guy. That's what we're supposed to believe.
So well, yeah, I get it, but fuck, what did we? And I get it. Like I'm not saying no because of not, but I was saying that somebody the other day, like RVJ just can't have that point looking the way he is. Because all I tell to RVJ, I'm like, dude, I know 10 guys that have taken way more gear than you probably ever thought about taking.
And he looks better than all of them.
And they don't even look like you, my guy. Like that's what I'm like. I love your point. Your point
You're
is
one of them. That's what you were saying deep down to him.
I must always think about you when I say that, but now that you say that,
You don't get to turn that joke on me. I just played that on you.
no.
Make your own shit up,
For
kid.
some reason, no. You wrote the conclusion for the joke that I had about you, my man. That's all it is. That's
Fucking guy. He texted me the joke. I just flipped it on him.
no. So, and that's how like, but his point is fair. He has a nice point, and I love that somebody's saying that shit. So like, there's somebody that's like going, oh, yeah, pancakes, but not the school is real thing. But he just can't have that point, man. Like Rob, I love you, like, but your arms are way too big. Like like Heather, she'll talk about it. Like his kids, she'll talk about it. Rob just can't have the arms to talk about.
He just looks guilty with those huge
Right.
biceps.
She'll wear a sweater, like, because nothing that he says is wrong. None of his point is like really wrong, right? It's just like you listen to it, like, yeah, fuck. I mean, you can't disagree with this.
If you
But
want to
look,
convince me you're not a juicer, just start calling juicers pussies. And I'll be a believer right away. Right away, I'll believe you. Right? As soon as he goes that way, I'm like, all right, I believe it. What do you feel? How do you match up with RVJ if we have the match tomorrow, Artem?
tomorrow,
Tomorrow,
well, I don't know what every J
Monday
was.
morning at Clark's Appliances.
I mean, I'll beat him because fuck, he has to travel 10 hours now.
Well, if we give him that same flight that Ryan Bowen gave you, who booked that flight? You or Ryan?
I don't want to say Ryan did, but it definitely not me. So I'm just gonna say somebody from Australia. Let's just say that.
Okay, yeah. Next time, we need to get you the flight. Personally, I feel like they sent you on a fucked up path.
Well, I'm not gonna mention that the 2 days before flying out, I looked and I saw way better tickets, but it's all
I'm
good.
glad you didn't mention that. That's very
It's
honorable.
a little bit rude, and especially they were cheaper anyway, too.
Let's see. Real
Is there any more questions? We've been out here for 2 fucking hours. I have to get stem cells tomorrow this time.
Artem, I will see you in the morning.
No, they no more super chats. Oh yeah, I do. I'm gonna have to see you in Gainesville, haven't I? You have, dude. Your camshaft center can't come soon enough.
Mass airflow sensor. I'm gonna put that thing in limp mode 25 miles an hour to Hawthorne. You just look for my live location, kid.
Okay, I mean, better not break the mass airflow filter, man.
Hey, is what it is. All right, Artem, appreciate having you on. The rise of the Toproll King is a real thing. Everybody, give him a shout out to your channel. I know everybody knows, but Toproll King Productions.
Let's give a couple of shout outs. Let's give a couple. Do we have 300 people watching? How many shout outs?
We have 22 in the chat.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody know where to find me at Toproll King on Instagram, on YouTube. We have a podcast. It's Travis Bagent. Tell me I'm the greatest on Travis's YouTube channel. And also, if you would like to get Botox injections, you can see my girl CJ down in New Smyrna Beach. Shameless plug, because we do great business down there. So that's all I can say.
Artem, I'll tell you, between the Botox and the stem cells, you're looking ageless, my man.